across to our casters for the day. Rebel Fox and Mabinogi, guys, take it away.
Welcome in, everybody, to the first game of our elimination match in playoffs here in the VCS English Spring Split. Myself and Mobby on the microphone for these games. Mobby, I'm gonna kick things off. How many Kindred games do you think have been played since the beginning of 2022?
Beginning of 2022. This one. I'm gonna say because
very close.
Yeah. I can't think of any others. So.
Yeah, there was only one. It was Penguin at the beginning. It was in summer 2022, which is a little bit wild because this champion is like actively ignored by the majority of the VCS. A lot of our junglers just don't play it. This is a gambit by Cerberus. Like I think Yoei had pointed out, we don't usually get a bunch. We're getting some action on the bot side. Looks like they're just going to go back and forth, as it ended up being the Galio swapped down into the bottom side. But yeah, I think I love it too. Again, it is a bit of a different look to have the jungler be one of the primary carries on the team, and maybe that's the shakeup that's needed by one of these squads to be able to kind of get the advantage over top the other.
Yeah, and what's more, we kind of saw Drakthar come into the scene, making his name on things like Graves and stuff, so this should fit much more into his wheelhouse, given that sort of setup jungler. They, of course, wanted the Galio, but that takeaway by B. A little bit interesting to see it moved into support. As far as I'm aware, B is one of the only people in the world that is still bothering to play Galio support, but he's brought that out. They really value this comfort of the mid lane Annie for glory, but he's going to be fine. Oh, no, he's not.
Actually, decent wraparound coming through from Rano P almost out of nowhere. Now they're going to try to deliver the first kill. They do. They just outright deliver it to Drakthar. Oh,
he's got the red buff.
He got everything. He doesn't actually continue chasing. I'm not sure why Killer Queen was so low. Now B is going to be in a decent space. That's going to be a knockup. Okay, we're just fighting right here, flipping the game basically on nothing. As B is going to go into the pocket of Kindred as well. You got to be kidding me, Mobby. The Kindred's off to such a good start.
Why did they re-engage that? What
I don't know.
Cool? And now Rano P can just keep pushing onto to kill a queen, and the calls are that was just a mess. That was just complete nonsense coming out from the side of Team Wales. And
oh my goodness,
Drakthar now is 2-0. He has full control of the jungle. Killer Queen can't risk.
Oh, he's gonna wait. He's gonna wait.
Oh,
that's disastrous. Okay, the full combo does hit. Killer Queen's gonna have to flash in order to get out. Glory's still here, so they're gonna get driven out of the river maybe a little bit, especially because bot lane's here. Yeah, it's unfortunate because that wave shoving, the punishment by Cerberus' bot lane actually ends up to them leading river control, which is a mark down the drain. But given just how dominant that the early game was, I think they're okay yielding over the first Scuttle Crab mark as opposed to anything else.
Yeah,
he's not done flash. He gonna force out the flash from Nagia. That's about it.
Yeah, that counter strike lasting just a little bit too long for Nagia's W to wait that out. Now Glory's gonna try and do his best to regain some control of the mid lane after falling prey to that first roam from Rano P, but we're seeing the Jinx Nautilus just having full control. Galio can't really do all that much in the laning phase, and those rockets just applying a bit too much force, allowing for Rano P to just exit the lane. And if you have Rano P having full ability to just leave the lane and link up with Kindred and make these plays, that should just be fantastic for Cerberus, and you're really stuck waiting until B hits 6 to make these responsive plays.
Yeah, to start off this game, the fact that Rano P was able to make just a massive roam, they like bounced the spot wave off the tower and just immediately got space for Nautilus to go moving all the way up into mid lane, all the way up into the jungle to be able to make that second response play. Cerberus came out with a game plan, which is really nice to see. So often is it that Cerberus ends up getting kind of locked in a box of being like, oh, we're playing for Artemis, oh, we're playing for Lake King, oh, we're playing for all the... So to see them come out with an early game plan, again, playing around Drakthar, not something that we always see, is really, really unique. And I'm glad to see that Cerberus is finally taking the initiative. This is something that I complained about in our first series on Desk, because we were both there, and I was like, yo, these teams, they're boring. They don't do anything. We got to see them actually show us something different. And they didn't really show us anything different in our first series, so saving it for when it's time, when their backs are up against the wall, and it's your life that's going to be remaining in playoffs. Cerberus bringing out the good stuff.
And I think also you got to watch last night's game and see Killer Queen is has been, at least in the playoffs for sure, this weakness that could be exploited, being able to, if you're able to just get in there, get in his head, and going through for this heavy jungle pressure, this invading. Oh, Glory! That's so tragic. That's so sad.
Not great, as Drakthar does not have even a worry in the world on this critted, being able to bounce away, not having to flash, but not having to burn it in the slightest. And with the shove on bottom side, it's going to be a free dragon going to the side of Cerberus. This is the benefit of the Kindred, is when everybody is defaulting to Vi and Wukong, and even like in some circumstances Lee Sin, especially after like the very beginning of the early game, Kindred just dominates these champions in pure one-on-one type situations. So if you've got pushing lanes to support it, it is a hell of a champion to try to find a response to. And you've seen that from Killer Queen already, having a little bit of difficulty. They are going to invade with the Tibbers. They're going to try to yoink away the red buff as a response to everything else that's gone through, which would be a little bit of something, but...
Yeah, they need to try and get anything back for Killer Queen. This will be his first red buff of the game, given that the first one was stolen by Drakthar with that dash over the wall. But now Killer Queen's going to be able to pick up a mark on this Scuttle Crab. This will be his first mark. Finally, he's got 2 kills to cover the dragon, but now he has a mark. So he's a little bit slow on that uptake. Going to be a little bit slow to pick up the extra range, but I don't think he's that concerned as long as he has the good setup from. I mean, this Lysandra just having a bit more shove against the Annie early on. The only lane that they're really struggling in terms of priority is top lane, but that's fine. Pun is going to scale just fine. Nagira is not going to impact the map that much, so you're just happy to play it out and work through this mid lane.
Yeah, you absolutely are. Not to mention, Pun is a really proficient Jax player, so I wouldn't be surprised if at some point there was just a mechanical kind of outplay coming through from Pun in the one-on-one in this laning phase. And now, I mean, we get a chance to see a little bit of a different view from Cerberus and playing a bit more for some of the early and mid-game around this Kindred. I've liked what I've seen so far. They're now going for their second objective of the game, with the first Rift Herald having spawned, and again, there's nothing from Team Wales. Like, there's just nothing. I know we're waiting for B to get to the point where they're level 6, and then the Vi and the Galio can start diving, but this seems like just an absolute... This is Cerberus just dominating at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I think this Galio support angle kind of flubbed it a little bit. The Galio in the mid lane might have been a little bit better in terms of putting out pressure, because he can absolutely shove the Annie's support as well to contest the lane a little bit with that extra poke, a bit of extra pressure. Might have stopped it from going all the way, falling apart so quickly, but yeah, it feels like Team Wales, they've had responses in mind. Here might be one, but no, that's just too hard to get onto Lysandra.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they were expecting to do anything like that. The immediate Ignite got dropped by Yado, too, because he just had the Summoner spell readily available, wanted the TP back, so just, like, runs up and grabs on a Glory. Glory can't really make an aggressive move. There's no flash. Can't really just go running up into Lysandra. You're going to get ulted. You're probably going to get comboed, and then even if the Vi gets a response, you got to play into the Thrall. So, again, it's a difficult game for Killer Queen to kind of manage right now, despite some of the early buff loss. Again, only 2 camps of advantage here for Drakthar, which isn't the most insane victory in the world. But again, now Lysandra is starting to get to a place where she's going to have way better wave clear than the Annie. Your top lane is still in a perfectly comfortable place. Bottom lane is up 20 CS, which is an insane thing. Artemis and Rana P have been able to focus exclusively on their lane state and punishing as much as they can against the opposition, as there's been no jungle pressure. And because of that, Cerberus, again, just kind of run the map completely right now as Fun gets a little bit more damage. Nothing too crazy, though. So where's the attack angle for Wales, then? I know we said we're waiting for B to show up, but do they even start winning when that happens? I feel like they just don't have enough in the tank for now.
No, I feel like all they can really try and hope for is try and get as much gold into the pockets of Glory and Vit. Try and get to that early Rod of Ages, try and get some gold. Okay, Nagia just died.
Okay, I expected a kill to come through, but I thought there was going to be a lot more there. Maybe a flash to come out from Nagia or something like that that would have warranted like a flash Q under a tower, maybe like a dodging of a tower shot or something from Pun, even maybe a trade. No, he just kind of autos him with a third proc W, and that's enough to kill off Nagia on the Cassante. Look at the gold. The gold says everything right now. Drakthar is winning. Artemis is right behind him. Pun gets a solo kill on the top side. Lysandra's been a part of a couple of kills as well. Yeah, this is just... Yeah, that's a Pun V9 angle.
Yeah, Nagia just missed out, and that
doesn't even matter. Don't need to cast it. Nope. It's Brown OP back in the jungle. Drakthar picks up the kill. The Killer Queen is gone. Yep, this is a home run pick right now. Like,
yeah, they've fallen so far behind. Like, the only thing they've got going for them is Drakthar has not been able to find a kill onto someone he's marked, but he's got 3 kills. That doesn't matter all that much. And now Artemis is just fully pressuring the spot lane. Even despite the fact Ron OP has been out of lane so much, B has also been trying to roam, but finding negative impact. As my stream freezes a little bit, so but it's just the catch, it seems. So yeah. Just 3 men in the jungle, Killer Queen's just not expecting it, and this is just spiraled out of control. It has to come down to a good team fight where they just jump on and delete Drakthar before he can even press his ultimate. And even then, if you blow everything on the Drakthar, then there's still a Jinx to deal with. So it's looking like a nightmare for the side of Team Wales. This might just have to be a stall it out as long as you can and pray for game 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first. Yeah, this is the first actual kind of reception of something in the game that Team Wales has been able to do, where, again, they're losing in basically every position on the map. You saw that from the gold. This is the first thing. They get a dragon, which is, again, it's very small recompense for everything else that's gone on during the course of the game. But at least they do slow down the stacking. It's not the greatest of soul or points in the entire world. And now Mountain Soul's up and available on the map as Draktar's not done hunting for Killer Queen. Blue buff is just his. That wall is going to make it really hard, too, because, again, you just pilfer this without, Vi being able to see that wards cancel. He's just stealing camps from right in front of him. Like Killer Queen is on this side of the jungle, and Drakthar is yoinking camps away. Going to grab 2 in the time it took him to take Wolves. Going to grab this. How has this pick never been in the VCS? There's so many good junglers that have had an option to take this, and this is the first time we're getting this. This is the first time we've seen the Kindred. This is ridiculous. Oh, Artemis, actually, he's taking Gromp, gets root up. Actually, ultimate from Ron OP, also going to be able to stall up enough. Wow, they zoned him. Killer Queen's just dead.
Yeah, Killer Queen is just trying to get anything back, and he commits a little bit too hard onto Artemis. Ron OP is in the area. He probably might have it in if it's just the 1v1, but with Ron there, he can't quite get it done. So you can see Killer Queen is now very much in his own head. Drakthar is in his head. He's already floundering. He's looking for something to try and make his way back into the game, and he's just not in this game. He's just an alt bot, and unfortunately he's already spec'd in towards that the Divine Sundra, so he's not even just going to be this big tanky thing to buff up his team. It's just not going to be a useful fight.
This is also really wild for Wales, because walking into the end of the split, the 2 things that were working best for this team were Nagia and Killer Queen. I think it was a really obvious kind of dictation that Killer Queen was probably the second best jungler during the course of the regular split, and Nagia we had as the best top laner. I think mostly as a result of Kiaya maybe not receiving some of the love that they wanted, because Kiaya has also been amazing. But Nagia, if not number 1, was certainly in discussion for number 2. Over the course of the split. So this top side, I mean, it was something that floundered against SBTCE, and now all of a sudden it's also getting kind of rocked by Cerberus. What are they, is this the attack plan that teams have come up with? Have they just said, hey, if we shut out Killer Queen Nagia, maybe Glory Vit don't have enough to actually beat us in the long run of the game?
Yeah, I mean, if in the playoffs matchups, especially Slater and Artemis have been 2 of the best ADCs in the league. Vit has not been that by any stretch of the imagination. So you're just sort of saying, well, we're passively going to win bot lane. Glory alone can't do anything. B has had a great impact in past games, but he's neutered himself by picking up this Galio. It's just not a real champion in the support position anymore. I absolutely don't know why they did this. They went for the takeaway, but Annie is a good support. Galio is not. I'm just flabbergasted. I just don't know what they're doing. They just look completely lost.
That's a Rift Herald. That Galio ultimate's going to get dropped. Nagia is going to get dropped well before. That means that B is basically thrown to the wolves as well, as nobody has even touched Drakthar over the course of this fight. Nobody's really done anything. Drakthar just gets to continue to run through. A very, very kind of forward Kindred ultimate is going to make sure that nobody in the backline is going to go down, as that's 3 members, my apologies, getting brought down on the side of Team West. This is not even a game, Mobby. This is just Cerberus cleaning Wales at the moment.
No, it's just not working. Nagia walks in, he's not tanky enough to punch through these 280 carries that have, especially when Drakthar has gotten so far ahead. They both have Kraken Slayer, so they'll just melt through him. V just offers himself up on the platter with that hero's entrance because Nagia just dies too quickly, and then they just focus everything onto Glory. Like Vit did a decent amount of damage from over the wall with that ultimate and the lightning bouncing through the team, but it just didn't actually matter in the end. He's not at a point where he can actually pop off and have that Zeri moment. He still only has that first item. But look, Nagia just dies instantly. They don't really need to blow anything to do it, and now B is in the middle. They can just put everything into Glory before Tibbers even comes out. I think he just gets it out a little bit, and he survives. Maybe unfortunately long, thanks to the Kindred ultimate for the side of Cerberus, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The whole fight's just won before it even actually starts. They're gonna pick up this tower now, but that's just a small lapse of.
It's the first actual play that Team Wales has been able to generate on the offensive side here, which is just covering for Nagia, as the Jax pick is probably the weakest on the map, which is insane to think about because he's actually only behind by 3 CS. He's up 2 kills to 0. They're Rift Heralding on bottom side. They did give up first tower, which is one thing, but now Jax actually wants a little bit more smoke as Yada's here to help cover. There's 4 members here on top side. They just lost this fight. There's 4 members here. Mobby.
Why did he go back in? Why did he do that?
And not to mention, they're losing their entire bottom side. In fact, Rift Herald is still up. They're going to get a charge on bottom inhib tower. They might just lose bottom inhib tower, too. I mean, they're losing bottom inhib tower.
They even dropped the rocket to clear the midwave, so Vit couldn't even get that back in response. No. But I guess they killed Pun.
That's great.
They have a kill on the board. That's nice. They have a kill. They have a tower. They have a dragon. So they've got all the metrics needed to turn off to make the perfect game, and that's all they can really scrounge for right now. Try and pick up one of each metric. You're good. That's because this game has just been disaster from the word go. That play in the bot jungle, the outside jungle, to that just farmed another free kill to Drakthar was just man.
This has not been a great showing for Wales, at least in game number 1, which is insane because Wales was a really, really solid entity walking into our playoffs. I was expecting them to be quite competitive. They were super close with SPTCE. It would be a very strange kind of come up here as the series continues to watch Cerberus end up winning this one. As Red is being stolen by Killer Queen, but I think Artemis sniffed something out right there. They're not going to be able to catch him, so they're not too pressed. There's still a push on top side with Nagia, so you have an escape route right now. And it is 6,500 gold lead, which is a really sizable amount here for 19 minutes into the game. There's no real win condition. I also love that Artemis goes for Lord Doms because every single member on this team has a bunch of health. You've got like Iceborne, you've got Killer Queen, if he had gone Radiant Virtue, I think it would have been a little better, but even Rod of Ages, you got Galio on the bottom side. As it's a stun on the Pun. They're trying to bully the Jax as much as they can. This is the best option for them, but it's just, I don't know how much this is going to net them when the other side of the map is constantly losing the way that it has been for the side of Wales.
Yes, the Jax is the most bullyable in the sense that they can push him back off the tower and then try to find some gold in a response with the tower. The bounties are in play, and that is all Team Wales can really hope for right now, but so if they just trade these top lane towers, that is a gold benefit for the side of Team Wales, but in the end, it's not gonna actually be all that because they've got the double 80 carries just pushing onto this next tower, and you can't really approach it.
No.
Glory would have to find a good teleport flank in and then immediately get a Galio on top of his head, but good joke.
Oh wow, They're actually just starting Baron too. The approach is coming in. They do have everybody on the approach now for the side of Wales. This is already dead. Like this is already gone.
They can't get in. They're gonna try and maybe push mid lane as a response, try and get that tower, but they're a bit slow to it, and the response from Cerberus is just fast enough. They have enough wave clear. Okay, Team Wales are actually gonna get it. I'm a bit surprised they managed to pull that off, but Baron's still to the pocket of Team Cerberus. They should be able to break open. Well, I mean, the base is already broken open, right? So they can just walk they can use that, break open the free inhibitor, and use the pressure to break open the next few towers, push towards that next Mountain Drake, and keep squeezing Team Wales out of this game.
Yeah, slowly but surely, this is probably going to lead to quite a bit even more map control. Worst case scenario, you get your third dragon, you get your Mountain Drake, and you set up for Soul Point, which would be devastating because again, that means that Rylai's Annie probably isn't going to pop you anytime soon. Vi, who's way behind the power curve, isn't going to pop you anytime soon. Even the Zeri, I think, with the Runa Ends as a second item, isn't probably going to pop you until third item starts actually coming through. So a Mountain Soul would be a massive boon to the side of Cerberus here as the game continues. See a bit of a scuffle on the left side. Nagia and Yato just trading blows a little bit, but notably, take a look at Ipan on the other side of the map. He's doing pun things with his Jax on the bottom side of the map, saying, hey, you've been bullying me all game. Why don't you just, why don't you mosey on down here, continue that trend a little bit, buy some space for us in the mid lane so that they could use their double marksman to siege up. And in fact, actually, there's two members that were shifting roughly towards bottom side. There's a bit of space that's been given, and it looks like mid tower is going to get cracked by Cerberus. They're going to continue this wave down mid lane as well. There's still two down here contesting pun.
Also, Cassante isn't a tank anymore. You see the Black Cleaver and the Lord Dominic's as second item. Not that they found Pig, maybe.
More or less, they got Yato at the front end of this. Going to save the ultimate, but that's going to be a kill onto the Vi. First things first. They're just fish in a barrel right now for Artemis, who is just throwing damage, and even Vit trying to find something. Has to flash out the back of the fight with the ultimate on. This is a 3-for-1. I mean, Yato went down, but they do not care. That's the Lysandra. The double marksman is basically untouched at the front of this fight. That's going to be mid inhibitor. That's going to be bot inhibitor potentially going down here for Cerberus as well. I mean, I don't know that it's game quite yet. It seems like the health bars are a little low, but to say that it's not game is probably disingenuous. It's probably game, just not this second.
Yeah, I mean, that was almost a good engage. Unfortunately, it was onto Yato, who is the worst member to try and engage onto because he has all the... He's fairly tanky on his own, right? He has the self-ult, he has the Zonyas, and in this case, he had Drakthar behind him to drop the ultimate. And look just how long Yato survives being able to get that invulnerability from the Lamb's Spite, the Frozen Tomb, the Zonyas. It's just too much. You have to find Drakthar first and kill him before he can pop the Kindred ultimate. But he's just playing back because he knows that's the only win condition Team Wales has. Finding and kill. Wow. So how good is Haki in the jungle? Because I think Killer Queen is just boomed.
That's a great question. I'm not gonna take Killer Queen out quite yet because again, Killer Queen had an amazing split. I'm willing to be a Killer Queen apologist for now. This has been a disastrous game. Out of fairness, let's be direct about this as well. Cerberus, when they went out to find new junglers, because Ego wasn't exactly doing great. At one time, Fuquan was stepping in and wasn't really having the greatest of times. And they picked up Drakthar because, Drakthar had become available as a free agent very recently. One of the big things that I was harping on was this guy has some decent carry potential. The X factor of this team could be that Drakthar jumps in, right? Ego's this super early game maniac, and Drakthar has a little bit of that. But Drakthar also has the Graves, and he has some of this hyper carry potential, which is more of at the time, it was more of a Levi thing than an Ego thing when you consider the grand scheme of things. And we've never seen that. We've never seen them be like, hey, Drakthar, why don't you play Graves? Hey, Drakthar, why don't you play Kindred? Hey, Drakthar, why don't you play, not Karthus necessarily as his champion. This is the first real time that we're seeing them invest in Drakthar for the first 2-3 splits that he's been a part of this team. And would you look at the dividends that have paid off as a result of it? Killer Queen might actually be mental boom for the rest of the series off this one game.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of pushing for Drakthar is this. Is just dead Killer Queen again.
Okay, now Drakthar, he gets pressured by the Annie, but he's not even below half health yet, hasn't popped the ultimate. That's going to be the damage getting dropped out as a little bit more. That's the Galio. That's a solid Galio ultimate. That's going to be able to knock up quite a few members. Pun's going to be able to jump directly onto Vit, has to flash away. But he's also going to have to jump out pretty quickly. Yato's going to be able to put out damage, and now everybody's dead. I mean, there's nothing else to be done. Artemis went down in the midst of everything, but they've already got another marksman. They've already got multiple inhibs down. They've got siege minions in the mid lane. That is going to be the end of the game here for Cerberus. 25-minute, 18-3 performance from Cerberus. Name one person who would have expected that scoreline in game number one, Maui. I don't think we could have done it.
No. I'm gonna just throw a little solace towards Vic, who absolutely played his heart out in that last team fight, but too far gone by that point. He did a ton of damage. You saw those blink